What's the thinking? I mean, what's your personal thought when you see, as a Republican pollster and presumably someone who wants to see Republicans elected, when we see Carl Palladino doing the insane things he does, which, my audience is familiar with, I don't need to name them, or Christine O'Donnell. I mean, are these really candidates that the GOP thinks are going to be effectively legislating what the mainstream Republican Party wants? Or are they, if they get elected, just going to be very stubborn and, not really cooperating with anybody?
Well, I think you've got, let's take a look, for instance, at the Vanity Fair piece that just came out about John Boehner, and it really paints the picture of a guy who sort of, came of age in Washington, politics in a time that was theoretically more collegial and much more about deal making, whereas now you've got a lot of folks coming in and it's very about ideology. It's very about it's just a different brand of politics.
But hold on a second.
Leadership of the Republican.
Yeah. But my question really is, Palladino and O'Donnell, they've got to be scary to a lot of Republicans, right?
They are just such a different brand than most establishment Republicans are used to. It remains to be seen if the establishment is going to be able to include both of these. I don't think that Palladino is going to make it across the finish line. I don't think O'Donnell is going to make it across the finish line.
Yeah.
But you do have some candidates, not necessarily as extreme as those two, who
right.
They're a little less seasoned than you might normally see in a race. I ultimately think it's good for the Republican Party to have fresh voices, even if they're a little bit out there, and I really think it's sort of only in this cycle can you have candidates that are that far to the right ideologically that could make it across the finish line.
Right.
But it's really going to be a test of leadership if they can bring everybody together under one tent.
As far as Democrats, Bill, when the Democrats think of the Tea Party, are they really worried about losing politically long term to a third Tea Party? Do they see it as maybe even a positive because it'll take votes from Republicans rather than Democrats?
Well,
go ahead. Sorry, Bill.
Well, most Democrats are chronic pessimists, so a lot of people thinking there's going to be some sort of Tea Party resurgence that's going to take over America for the next generation, which I think is ridiculous. There are some people putting out the more positive spin that, hey, even if Republicans win, that's going to be a foil for Obama to play off of, the same way Newt Gingrich was to Bill Clinton, and Clinton was fine in 1996 after that. A lot of things could happen after Election Day. No one knows how far a Republican Congress, if they did take over one or both houses of Congress, would they try to force a government shutdown, for example? Will they put a very austere budget that goes after Obama's priorities and try to force vetoes? Will they try to kneecap the EPA? No one knows how far they'll actually go and how Obama will exactly react to it. Could Obama pick off some Republicans and force some compromise legislation if his poll numbers pick back up, if the economy picks back up, and they'll think it's in their interest to play ball? You only need a few Republicans to play ball if you're going to actually get some things done, as we've seen in the past year. So it's a very uncertain picture what would happen after Election Day.
Real quick, Kristen, and then we'll get to our predictions.
I think that the Tea Party, I don't think there's any worry that the Tea Party will run as a third party. It's really disorganized. I know there's a lot of belief that the Tea Party is very, very organized by a lot of wealthy people on the right, but you've seen a lot of the establishment get very frustrated because there is no one to talk to. There's no one way to, control the Tea Party. But I don't see it, sort of morphing into a national party because it is full of people who have such disparate beliefs about things. I might be a Tea Partier because I want lower taxes, but the guy next to me might be really into, the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. It's a bunch of people that are really agitated, but for a variety of different reasons. So I don't see it cohering into a national functioning party on its own.
Well, we'll certainly get a first glimpse of that next Tuesday. Let's go to our predictions. Bill, I want to go first to you. House and Senate, where do you see this after the Tuesday election?
I'm an optimist at heart. And as I said before, I do think this is going to be a lot of close races determined by good ground games, good voter turnout operations. And I don't necessarily see as big of a Republican wave as others are predicting.
Really?
So I'll give Republicans an extra 5 seats in the Senate, which would not give them control of the full Senate. And I think Democrats will actually retain the House by a single-digit margin.
So, okay. So you're saying, so what are your total numbers? So in the Senate, you're going with Democrats. How many?
So Democrats end up with 53, Republicans 47.
53-47.
I don't pretend that I've gamed out every last House race and I have it on the dot where I think it's going to be. But
you say the Democrats hold.
I say the Democrats hold with a single-digit margin.
Okay, Lewis, let me go to you.
All right. I should probably turn my mic on.
Yeah, go ahead.
51-49 Republicans.
Okay.
240-195 Republicans.
So you're saying Republicans take both?
Yep.
Wow, Lewis, I'm amazed by this. And Kristen, let's go to you next.
I think Republicans pick up low 40s. I think they pick up around 45 seats, just enough to get over the majority. I think in the Senate, I don't think they pull it off. I can see 5 seats that are almost definite locks in my mind, but then there's this batch of 6 that's like Nevada, West Virginia, Washington, California, Illinois, and they need 4 of those 6 to do it, and I can only imagine 2 or 3 of those going. So put me down 51 Dems, 49 Rs.
All right, and my prediction is, in the House, I'm saying Republicans will take over 230 to 205. I feel like that's a very, not horribly disastrous, but still realistic prediction.
Well, and that's roughly the consensus view amongst a lot of procrastinators, around a 50-seat gain for Republicans. And it obviously very well could happen.
Right.
I would suggest that conventional wisdom prediction is not based on a whole lot of empirical data. There's a lot of sketchy data out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just took it at a certain point. Some of the races, I just said, okay, these I'm just going to say split without really getting it, because it's hard to know exactly.
There's not a lot of quality polling at the House district level. Kristen's a professional pollster, so she can correct me if she thinks that's wrong, but that's my understanding of it.
And there's not a lot that's public.
Right. Well, a lot of these professionals look at the internal polls, and they'll take that combined with where inside and outside groups are putting their money, and make their predictions based on that. And that strikes me as being a little sketchy to have everybody saying 50-seat gain based on incomplete data makes me hesitant to buy into it.
And then let me just hold on. And I want to get my Senate prediction in, lest Lewis complain I didn't get it in there, and then I can hedge later. I'm going 52 to 48 Democrats in the Senate. So, Kristen, wrap it up for us here.
There's a really great analysis that CBS just put out where they took that generic House ballot question that they ask, would you rather vote for the Republican or Democratic candidate? There's no names involved, and, they ask it in national polls. They say if Republicans want to take the House, they need to get 51 or 52% on that generic ballot question when all is said and done. And so that's the thing that your listeners and viewers should be looking for over the next few days on that generic ballot question. Do we get over 50%?
All right, Bill Scher, Campaign for America's Future, liberaloasis.com. Kristen Soltis from the Winston Group, Republican strategist. Thanks to both of you for coming in today.
Thank you.
And we'll take a break. And coming up next, Wayne Besson from truthwinsout.org.
Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman on midweekpolitics.com.
Midweek Politics is made possible by listeners like you and by Greenfield Savings Bank, building a strong community one account at a time, with neighborhood offices in Greenfield, Amherst, Conway, Shelburne Falls, South Deerfield, and Turners Falls, and online at greenfieldsavings.com. By the Daily Hampshire Gazette and gazettenet.com, connecting our communities with local news and information. By DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. Find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics at midweekpolitics.com.